Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Laces Out podcast, and we are talking Week 8. Week 7 is in the bag, Week 8 is coming in hot. We talked briefly about the fact that this used to be halfway through the season, but not anymore. They scrapped all of that. We've got all the games coming your way, all of our predictions and what we think is going to happen, and then we've got all the lovely other business, side bets, side banker bets, side outsiders, the lot, it's all there. I might even let you in on a little secret about what I think is going to happen this week in my bet. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Leave a comment where you can leave a comment. And obviously the big one, share the podcast around. If you know somebody who enjoys the NFL, even if it's just a passing enjoyment, they might have said one time the word American and football in the same sentence. Send this podcast their way. They will love it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. Laces out.
Well, recording is in progress. Although, you don't hear the lady say it anymore. It's only us. We're the special ones. Special needs. So, here's a story that I completely forgot. This is the Laces Out podcast. And my eldest child has finally watched Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And I'm like, why didn't I take the opportunity to be like, hey, guess what? The NFL podcast on the CookieCast network is called. Because now she would understand. She would actually get it. So I had this whole thing. I forgot to tell you, and I forgot to tell her. So obviously she'll watch this because she's a big fan. It is what would be, think about this, what would be halfway through the season. But it's not, so it doesn't matter. Because they decided CTE is not a thing, play 2 more games, you giant girl. That's right, it's the Laces Out podcast from us here at the CookieCast Network. I am joined by, quite frankly, the most glamorous co-host anybody could ever ask for. The man who runs the book and the numbers, if you know, you know. Mr. Paul Williams, how is it this week? Fantasy win in the bag?
Fantasy win was secured. I believe I was helped in the fact that I was playing against, shall we say, the weakest team in the league.
You did not play me, so that is not accurate.
Cole's team severely weakened by a number of injuries, and so yes, I'm riding a six game win streak in fantasy.
That's disgusting, quite frankly.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Yes, we'll have to let the public know whether or not we're sitting on a small fortune. Of course, with the not the side bet, the bankers and outsiders bet. But obviously, we can't dive into that straight away without going through Week 7's game picks first.
I have absolutely gamed the system this week for the outsider and the banker, and I feel personally that my picks are going to secure us the money this week. So you will need to pick carefully because I believe I've absolutely locked us in. But that is a lot of foreshadowing for much later. So go on, tell me how badly I did this week.
Well, Week 7 in the National Football League brought with it 15 games as the Ravens and Bills found themselves on the bye this week. So, 15 games to guess at. I would say it was a good week in that the person who finished second still had 10 correct picks.
Not bad. 2/3. Not bad.
I would say very,
I'll allow it.
very respectable. Very respectable. So, the person who had those 10 of 15 picks correct was let down by the Steelers not being the Bengals, the Dolphins not being the Browns. And then it was 3 differences of opinion that separated myself from Mr. Cook. So, if I was to tell you that the Vikings did not beat the Eagles, the Falcons did not beat the 49ers.
Oh!
Much more importantly, the Jets did not beat the Panthers. That should tell you all you need to know, ladies and gentlemen.
Bitches!
That is correct. Mr. Cook is basking in the glow of knowing that he correctly picked the other teams in those games. There was one other team that did let Mr. Cook down. It was the Washington Commanders not getting the better of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
That cost Mr. Cook his extra point. So that does mean that Mr. Cook wins the week with 12 of 15 selections correct. Let me just double check that. I believe that was correct. Yes, so you had the Steelers to beat the Bengals, which didn't happen. Dolphins to beat the Browns, which didn't happen. And yeah, Commanders to beat the Cowboys. Everything else you picked absolutely correctly. So well done to you, sir. That's a point for you. So that puts the scores for the season on 3 points to Andy, 4 points to myself. Much more importantly, a total of 108 selections so far. I have got 70 of those 108 selections correct. Mr. Cook, 71.
Not gonna lie, I don't think 70 for either of us is doing too bad. I think that you know, you could be looking at 100 within the next couple of weeks. Ish. No? You'd have to get everything right, which is now impossible. Especially the way this season is at the moment. I mean, you just can't pick a game.
I think the aim is for us to have cracked triple digits by the time we reach week 10. So,
because that would average out 10 correct 10 weeks
per week. Yeah, that's a decent.
And I don't think we've dropped below, like the lowest score. I don't think has dropped below 10. Have we had a single digit week? Did we have one where we only got half? There was a week where it was an absolute shit show.
Technically, last week I got 8 correct. You got 9 correct.
Oh well, there we go. Like literally 7 days ago. So I should shut up.
Week 5 wasn't much better. I got 7 correct. You got 5 correct. Other than that, we've not been doing too bad. So yeah, we're I would say we're on pace. Let's put it that way. So that's all of the games. Our side bet. Mr. Cook came into this with 13 from 24 correct selections. I came in with 18 from 24 selections. So Mr. Cook was looking to claw a few points back.
Yeah.
He started off strongly by taking the Chiefs to beat the Raiders.
Yeah.
He also had the Patriots to beat the Titans. And the Eagles to beat the Vikings, which obviously at one point was looking a little bit sketchy. But they did pull through in the end and get the W. However, he started the week behind the 8-ball, so to speak, as he had picked the Steelers to beat the Bengals, sadly. So just a 3-point picked up from Mr. Cook, moving him to 16 from a possible 28.
I nearly text our collective group to say, off to a flying start this week then, because I knew the way that had been picked to go, because obviously the Bungles have not been doing amazing without Joe Burrows behind centre, so it's been a bit of a and the fact that they then went and had a win, it was like, oh, not looking good for the rest of the week then, is it?
So 16 from a possible 28. I selected the Chicago Bears to beat the New Orleans Saints. That's 1 point. The Green Bay Packers to beat the Arizona Cardinals. That's 2 points.
Sure is.
The Seattle Seahawks to beat the Houston Texans. That's 3 points right there. However, my final selection was looking dicey for the first 3 quarters.
Oh, he's got the Broncos.
He had the Denver motherfucking Broncos beat the New York Giants. They did the honourable thing and scored 30 points plus in the fourth quarter to get the win and bag this guy a clean sweep.
Clean sweep. Congratulations. Well done. Honestly, an absolutely inspired choice to take the Broncos. You deserve every single one of those points, because that is an absolute banger, because the Giants were on a monster streak and the Broncos are not what I would call a banker, let's say. Admittedly, you have to hold your hands up. This season, are they number one at this point in time? Have they had 6 wins at this point? Like they were,
the Broncos.
They were like joint first seed last week, weren't they?
I think they're 5-2. So I think they have. I think they're a game behind the Colts. So
also the mentality of 30 points in a quarter. Have you seen the graphic of the 4 quarters laid out with each team's score, where it's just like the Giants score, Broncos 0, Giants score, Broncos, Broncos win with it's like, I mean, yeah, but phenomenal, absolutely.
Kind of crazy. So all that left is with. So that moves me on to 22 points from a possible 28. So all that left is with was our outsider and banker picks. So let me just fire up the old Sky Bet and show you where we were at. My bets settled. So we had our bankers for the week were the Seattle Seahawks at 1-2 to beat the Houston Texans, and the Kansas City Chiefs at 1-8 to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They both hit. Andy's outsider was the Cincinnati Bengals, who beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for the second week in a row, Andy's absolutely nailed the outsider pick, and it just so happened to be on the first game of the week. So he's done that in back-to-back weeks, ladies and gentlemen. So watch this space. If Mr.
I'm telling you, this week is locked in.
It's incredible. It's unfortunately me that is letting the side down. And my outsider for this week was the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, obviously, had the pass that TJ Hawkinson stood, that would have put the Vikings in a much better position to try and beat the Eagles. But sadly, it was ruled an incomplete pass. And
yes, I believe. I believe the less said about that, the better, because they've put a couple of catches side by side, which are identical, just not in the ref's eyes. Shall we talk about Baker Mayfield's press conference by any chance, where he has basically called them out and gone, if I see something that's dodgy, I'm going to say something. And the officiating in this game, fucking dodgy. And it's like, Baker does not take prisoners these days. Baker's seen some shit. He's got that 1,000-yard from the trenches stare. And he has got, like I said last week, that man has a sack of potatoes across his shoulders. And I as I keep saying, don't get in his way, because if you get in his way and it's valid, he is coming for you.
Especially impressive. Sadly, that TJ Hawkinson drop, as it was the one thing stopping us from a cool £10.52. Sadly,
on the other hand, can reveal my bet from the weekend. I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. The Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Minnesota Vikings. The Green Bay Packers to beat the Arizona Cardinals. And the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Atlanta Falcons. Netting me, because I don't know if you realize, but that is an actual win for Mr. Cook. My shiny 50p netted me the princely sum of £2.16, and I rejoiced at that. I immediately took that money, placed it directly onto this week's games. I'll be keeping that powder dry till next week, but believe me, this week ain't a fourfold, baby. 5 times. So, let's tick them off. We've done the predictions. Side bet. Bankers and outsiders. Feel like there's something missing. That's right. I sent out the signal. Now, we know the Stats Mistress is essentially moonlighting as a respectable human being and sometimes is able to get us some stats. They came in under the wire, but I will say just. It's not a criticism, but, do better. These are the NFL Week 7 stats for the season of 2025. They have no credit, so we will just pass the credit to the Stats Mistress and hope for the best. Hope nobody comes for us. I would guess USA Today. I will give credit to USA Today. If that is wrong, that's on me. Number one, this is not a great start for the stats, I'm afraid. The New York Jets have dropped to 0-7 after another pathetic offensive performance against the Carolina Panthers. Justin Fields was yanked for Tyrod Taylor on Sunday, and coach Aaron Glenn hasn't committed to a starter for Week 8. I mean, maybe I should give them a call, tell them I'm available if they need me, kind of situation, because do we know if the Miami Dolphins post was legit or not? There was a thing floating around, literally the moment the game finished, there was a thing floating around and people were like, is this real? There was Do you own a Miami Dolphins jersey? Have you ever held a football? If so, please report for Triumph Monday. And people are like, is this genuine? It may have been fake news. I cannot confirm either way. Number 2. Good. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles become the first team in NFL history to cross paths in the Super Bowl 3 times in 4 seasons span. I hope fucking not. Yes, the answer is yes. God damn it. That is most definitely within the realm of possibility as of October 19th, 2025. But Sunday afternoon suggests the likelihood is suddenly much better with both teams who met in both Super Bowl 57 and 59, seemingly currying some of their recent ills amid encouraging victories. Genuinely think I could do borderline 2 to 3 hour podcast on these two teams alone. Just breaking it down, stripping it apart, just really diving into why my preference would be to see neither of those teams in this year's. Whereas I truly believe the league was well and truly done with the Chiefs after last season. I feel that is probably the same for the Eagles. I think people are a bit like, let's not, shall we? Anyway. Number 3, coming off a massive fail at the end of its three-peat quest in February, Kansas City very much seemed to be recapturing its dynastic form, shall we say, winning for the 4th time in past 5 weeks after whitewashing the Las Vegas Raiders 31-0. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was back in MVP form, pulled for the 4th quarter after passing for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 for wide receiver Rashee Rice, playing in his first game in more than a year after undergoing knee surgery 12 months ago before serving a 6-game suspension to start the season. I mean, there's a combination. Number 4, meanwhile, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts completed a perfect passer rating, 158.3 in the NFL Sunday in a 28-22 defeat to the Minnesota Vikings. All 3 of his touchdowns and nearly every one of his 326 yards divided between wide receiver A.J. Brown, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Devonta Smith, 183 yards and a touchdown. And y'all, he did this against the Vikings, one of the nastiest, most pressurized defenses in the league. Saw a video while the game was still going on that was saying, are the Vikings the first team to have actually defeated the push? And they showed it from multiple angles. They were showing like the defense were going in low while sending 2 guys over the top. And they'd managed to get under and get to the ball. And it was like, one of those things, keep using it. And other teams, especially the teams you're facing of that week, they are going to be watching footage of all angles and going, how do we get past this? If they used it 4 times week before last, you're telling me that the Vikings weren't like, right, our only job this week is to get that. Number 5, Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford threw for 5 touchdown passes on Sunday in London. Single game record for an international series game. The barrage matched Stafford's career best. He'd done it 4 other times, but the first time he's fired 5 for the Rams. His most recent occurrence a decade ago with the Detroit Lions. I don't know whether this features later in the stats. I would have thought it would have come up then. So it might not. But I believe that there was another record in that game, one that you wouldn't want as a record, because I believe one of the Jags players broke the record for number of drops in a single game. Number 6, if Stafford hadn't previously joined the unofficial race to be the league's 2025 MVP, he most certainly in a field. With Mahomes, Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield, and Dallas Cowboys Dak Prescott, and others. I kind of wish we'd have got the and others in one quarterback sooner, because MVP race, no. My final stat for the week. The Browns had 11 consecutive games of scoring 17 points or fewer. That ended Sunday when they dunked the drowning, very good, Miami Dolphins 31-6. Cleveland quarterback Dylan Gabriel isn't posting crazy numbers, but he's certainly taking care of the ball. Fellow rookie Quishon Judkins did the heavy offensive lifting Sunday with a season best 3 touchdown runs, the first time he'd scored multiple times in an NFL game. I thought that stat was enough to come up as your first stat, but I don't think it is. I think it's something different. So, for your stats, I'll hand over to you for some delicious, delicious stats.
Yes, indeed. So, we go back to the London games, where the Jags incurred 13 penalties for a total of 119 yards. In Sunday's London loss, Jacksonville quarterback Trevor Lawrence has absorbed 14 sacks in the past 2 games, 7 apiece. Prior to that, he'd never been sacked more than 5 times in a single contest during his 5-year career so far. Congratulations to the Panthers, winners of 3 in a row for the first time in 4 years. The question now is whether the quarterback of Bryce Young will be healthy enough to go for 4 in a row after injuring his ankle. Quarterback Jaden Daniels' hamstring injury, depending on its severity, could cast a serious pall over the prospects of the Washington Commanders, who have lost 3 of the last 4 and nearly dropped into the NFC East basement on Sunday. Fortunately for the Commanders, the Denver Broncos bowed up on the weekend when they honoured their Super Bowl 50 champs and put the late, great wide receiver Demaryius Thomas into their ring of fame. I saw something kind of crazy about that there was all these different things about the fact that Demaryius Thomas passed away when he was 33, and that he wore the number 88 jersey whilst he played for the Broncos. And it was something like the Broncos scored 33 points. There was all these different things. I can't find it now, but it was kind of crazy. There was like 4 or 5 different things that either had 33 or 88 as part of the number sequence, which was kind of crazy. With a 61-yard field goal on Sunday, Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey has now hit 60-plus 5 times in his 3-year career, already an NFL record. Dak Prescott didn't set a record on Sunday, but he continues to play exceptionally well for a team that relies heavily on him, becoming the 3rd player in NFL history to throw at least 3 touchdown passes and compile a passer rating of at least 120 in 4 straight games. Maybe those MVP chats are legit, Mr. Cook.
Never know.
San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey may not be the so-called best player in the league, but he led his decimated team to another win on Sunday night whilst outgaining Atlanta Falcons counterpart Bijan Robinson by 109 yards in Sunday night's victory. 2 more. Drake May and the first place New England Patriots are quickly making their fans forget about Tom Brady.
Who, sorry?
Exactly. But May did eclipse one of TB12's team records on 21 of 23 passes for a 91.3% completion rate, which just so happens to be the best in team history. And to finish us off this week for the stats, the Indianapolis Colts became the first team to 6 wins this season, maintaining their position atop the AFC with a dominant victory against the Chargers. That are all your stats. Done and dusted.
All right, there. For those of you who can see what I'm doing, it's me tying a giant gold glittery bow on week 7. We now take on task of preparing you and ultimately ourselves for week 8. And as I said before, what would have been halfway through the season previously, that is crazy talk. So that I'm thinking, so that we get it nice and clean, we might take our break early. Let's take an early break, refresh ourselves. I've gone through 2 of 3 drinks, just purely through sheer excitement, because it's exciting times. Week 8 coming at you like Cleopatra very shortly, but we're going to step away for a moment. It will be literally a moment for you and will be not more than a moment for us. We will be right back. Well, just like that, we have returned. It was a second, I would say. I would say it was a second. Knowing the things that I know about the way this works, it was a second. It was long enough for me to, change my attire. So more than a second for some of us. Just a second for everyone else. So, week 7's gone. We don't care about week 7 anymore. We don't care about who was going to get fired, who was going to get hired, who was going to get changed, who was not. We don't care about those games anymore. What we do care about is week 8. Week 8 is where the action is, I'm led to believe. And with what I believe is only 13 games, Mr. Williams, with only 13 games to pick, we picked and we picked and we picked. And then we're going to pick some more. And then, funnily enough, we're going to pick some more. So we best get to picking. And I will think of another way to get the word pick into a sentence. Mr. Williams, I sent you, sir, some picks earlier today. And when I say earlier, it was like this morning. I was on the bobby. I was like, get it done, get it out of the way. Less to do later in the day. Get it done now. And I did. I will not tell you where I was when I did that. But you can probably guess. Let's say. Taken care of. 2 bits of business in one, let's put it that way.
So, I believe that is what Ruxin in the league would refer to as is Stinker Tinker time. So, do a little tinker stink. So, like Mr. Cook clarified there, week 8 brings with it 13 games, which the mathematicians amongst the group will be able to work out. That means there are 6 teams on the bye, which are the Arizona Cardinals, the Detroit Lions, which is problematic for me as I have 3 Lions in my team.
Don't know what you're talking about. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Not an issue at all to have 2 Lions players in your lineup. Nothing to switch them out for. Absolutely not a problem at all.
It's not ideal. The Arizona Cardinals, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks are your 6 teams on the bye. They will not be playing. That just leaves the other 26 teams to commence battle. And commence battle we do with the first game of the week, which sees the Thursday Night Football Minnesota Vikings traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. It's an opening game of the week, and it is our first difference of the week. Andy has gone with the home field advantage for the Chargers. I have been burned too many times this season by the Chargers. So
it's funny you say that, because so have I. The Chargers have fucked me more times this season than any other team, both in picks and in a monetary sense. Yet here we are, week 8. There's me. Oh, we're going to take the Chargers this week because, you know.
So one thing that did get brought up on a different podcast I was listening to earlier today, the Chargers are just absolutely decimated at the offensive line position. Like, I think it said there's something like at both the left and right tackle spots, they're down to like 6th or 7th string players. So we're talking like potentially guys that like have never played the position before that are having to come in and just sort of like do the best they can. So it's no real surprise that, like, you know, Justin Herbert's just getting absolutely fucking creamed on the occasional sort of play.
Yeah.
So yes, difference of opinion number one. Obviously, like I said, I've gone with the Vikings. Andy's gone with the Chargers. So one of us is guaranteed to get a point, of course, unless everyone's favourite tie comes into play. But we'll obviously see. We move to the Sunday slate of games, and where I would usually be saying 6 p.m. No. Daylight savings kicks in on Saturday evening / Sunday morning. So we will be having 5 p.m. kickoffs for this next slate of games. The first of which sees the Dolphins travelling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Bear with me.
While you relieve yourself of a sneeze, I will just like to clarify, I am not booing getting our NFL games earlier. I am booing that's an extra hour of me not being able to sit down and watch the football, because in my house, it is literally kryptonite to my children. They are like, do you want to keep your eyes? Because I'll stab you if you don't let me watch this Mickey Mouse freaking Halloween special for the 400th time, rather than watching delicious football. That's why I was booing, not because we're getting games earlier. I am rejoicing at getting games earlier. Please continue.
This is where a handily placed tablet would always come in handy, Mr. Cook.
The perk set? Yeah, I'll take a couple if you got some.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So Dolphins at Falcons gets the 5 p.m. Sunday slate up and running, and you'll be all shocked to hear that we've both taken the Falcons to win that one. Next up, we have the Bears at the Ravens. The Ravens, of course, fresh off their bye. Despite the Ravens being in terrible form, myself and Mr. Cook have both taken the Ravens to win this one. I imagine.
So, this here was a game that I looked at and was like, when you're looking at the numbers, you've got a 1-5 Ravens versus a 4-2 Bears. It's almost a silly thing to do to take the Ravens in this situation. It also feels inconceivable to take the Bears in the majority of situations. So it's a little bit like, guess we'll go with the Ravens. I guess
almost the default pick. Yeah, I think for me, I've just gone with the Ravens because obviously they're coming off the bye. You'd imagine they've sort of got their. I think there was still potentially question marks over Lamar Jackson as to whether he'll play in this one or not. I think it could even be as much as a case of if he does play, they probably win. If he doesn't, they're struggling to keep himself relevant, to be honest with you. Next up, we have the Bills, fresh off their bye, coming up against I can't believe what to say this, in-form Carolina Panthers. We heard from the stats they'll be looking to make it 4 wins on the spin for the first time, possibly ever. Obviously not. The Panthers were good at one. Even though the Panthers are in good form, neither myself nor Mr. Cook are backing them to get a win here. We have, of course, taken the Bills. Next up, oh my, it's the New York Jets at the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I believe last week when the Jets played against the Panthers, I dropped the phrase, if they can't beat this team, I struggle to see where they might be getting a win this season.
And I agreed with you wholeheartedly. I was like, this is the point in time where they need to get a win. If they don't, that could be them done as far as the season is concerned. The Jets have been on what is almost impossible to say a downward spiral because they were the absolute bottom of the pile. So to say that they were still on a downward spiral, it brings us to 0-7 New York Jets. Have you seen the what they're dubbing the viral video of the young Jets fan coming out of the stadium who got interviewed and was like, "Fucking hate this team. I've been born into it, and I hate this team. I will." Basically, it was like, "I'll do my life sentence, but I hate this team." And I was like, "Bro, that proper sucks, mate. It might be time to move, change your name, and change your team."
The thing is, with him, there is obviously the hope that, if they have enough bad seasons, they get the draft capital, they draft good players, they eventually become good. For like a football fan, that sort of like, I'm not digging out any particular team here, but say you're a Cheltenham Town fan. That's kind of that's kind of what they go through because they're never going to win anything. Like maybe the occasional sort of Gloucestershire Senior Cup or something like that. But they're never going to win a big trophy. So, I mean, I'm saying that in my entire lifetime, I've seen them win one trophy. So, I'm not exactly saying that my team's incredible either. But I kind of know where that guy's coming from. Let's just go back. So, yes, we both backed the Bengals in this one.
I'm shocked.
I do still maintain though that the Jets will win one, they will win a game, and it will either come against a team that's just in disarray, or they'll end up beating a team that goes like 12-5 or something like that.
Whilst you continue, I'm going to look up the Jets schedule for the rest of the season. Let's just see which is the team that they might actually beat.
We will do that. We will do that at the end. So, next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers at the Houston Texans, and we have both taken the 49ers, which might come as a surprise to quite a lot of people listening to the podcast that I have taken both the 49ers and the Ravens in my picks this week.
I'm sorry, who are you and what have you done with Paul Williams?
It is a concern, and you would be quite right to think that. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns at the New England Patriots, and we have both taken the Patriots. We have the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles, and we have both taken the Eagles. That finishes the 5 p.m. slot. We move to the 8:05 and 8:25 slate of games to see the Buccaneers at the Saints. We've both taken the Buccaneers. We have the Cowboys at the Broncos, and it is our second difference of opinion game. Andy has taken the Broncos based off the fact that how they performed against the Giants and the fact that Dak Prescott is playing as well as he is, I think if the Broncos do the same as they did against the Giants, I think they will lose that one. So I've gone with the Cowboys just because I think...
But is it not in Denver?
It is.
I mean, teams just don't do well at Mile High.
Yeah, but that's where the game was on Sunday. And the Giants were absolutely all over them. So I don't know if it's just a case of the Broncos were just poor. But there's something about that Broncos thing I just don't trust. So that's why I've gone with the.
I was saying that earlier in the podcast. I was like, the Broncos are on a form, they're on a bit of a tear. But I don't think you would never put money, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you would never put money on them because that's a high potential for throwing money away. So, yeah, I agree. I just anyway.
Watch this space, shall we say? Last of the 8/825 games sees the Tennessee Titans going to the Indianapolis Colts. We've both taken the Colts. The Sunday Night Football sees the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, given the fact the Steelers are at home, and this is classed as a massive Aaron Rodgers revenge game, a giant FU to the Pack, we've both got the Packers to win. I can only presume it's because Mr. Rodgers hasn't been able to get a shipment of High Western into Pittsburgh in preparation for this game. Part of me's put this because I kind of want it to happen. I want to manifest it because I want to see Aaron Rodgers squirm like the little worm that he is.
What I would say to this is I imagine every fiber, every vein, every point of contact at the Green Bay Packers facility, from the owners, the managers, from the coaches, from the people that clean the toilet, from every part of that franchise is drilling one thing and one thing only all this week, and that is we're not beating the Steelers, we're beating Aaron Rodgers. That's all that they're going to be focusing on. They need to send a message that he's not coming back into that.
I don't know if you're muted.
No, I'm not muted.
I can no longer hear you.
Oh. I can try and perform some form of sign language. I can hear you, and obviously myself.
Strange technical difficulties.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, hang on. Everything's back.
Okay, don't touch anything.
Right, okay. So,
shortest version, the Packers are not going to let the Steelers win. And it's not the Steelers, it's nothing to do with the Steelers. It is the Packers are not going to let Aaron Rodgers win. If this was the 1980s, I would be saying, I imagine Aaron Rodgers leaves that game on a stretcher. I imagine there would be directives along the lines of, he doesn't walk out of this game. Got it? I imagine there's a little more of he doesn't win this game. Got it? Kind of thing. So, I couldn't, in all good conscience, put the Steelers down to win. And like I say, this is not the Steelers versus the Packers. This is the Packers versus Aaron
Rodgers. Thoroughly concur. So, that just leaves us with the Monday Night Football. And that leaves us with the Washington Commanders travelling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. And I believe that given Jane Daniels' injury concerns and just a bit of a regression from the Commanders. Certainly from my perspective, that is I've picked Chiefs
I feel sorry for the Commanders. I feel like having had such a monumental season last season, in the position right now, I think it's just a little bit unfortunate. I think it's like, they were on for another good season in theory, but yeah, shame.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's weird because obviously they've almost gone a kind of similar way to how the Texans went in CJ Stroud's second year. Really good first year. Got a playoff win. Then they've almost sort of regressed back. Strange how they've both had that sort of path, but let's just hope it's a blip, and he'll be back to back to form and back to playing well sooner rather than later. So that is our 13 sets of picks. Like I say, I think there's only 2 games where we differ, which is Vikings Chargers, Cowboys Broncos. Everything else we picked the same. So we should, fingers crossed, get a definitive winner from that. There's 2 things left to do, obviously. Well, 3 things technically. If we're talking about going through the Jets schedule to see where they're getting that elusive
just to preempt, what I've done is I've gone and looked it up and gone, I feel that where we were like, yeah, the Jets might not win another game this season. In actual fact, they have opportunity. Opportunity comes a knocking only once, but not for the Jets. Apparently, for the Jets, I can personally see 3 games that they could take a win from. Anyway, let's get to that in a bit. So that's our predictions for the week. Got a little bit of business to take care of, a little side action, a little under the table dealings. So whose go is it?
A little bit of side boob action. So going into the week, Mr. Cook finds himself on 16 of a possible 28 points. I find myself on 22 from a possible 28 points. So obviously, Mr. Cook is behind in the standings.
Bro.
He can choose to go first, or he can indeed put me into that. Which would you prefer to do?
Because I was scrolling through. Part of me wonders about just taking off the one that is literally right in front of me. I think it's probably up there as a kind of one of those. So I will just take the Chiefs to beat the Commanders. Like we were just saying, I think the Commanders are going to start seeing difficult times ahead. This game being one of them, and just issues in house. Unfortunately for most, I feel the Chiefs are returning to form. They've definitely got the refs back on side, that's for sure. So, yes, I expect to see a few more Chiefs wins in the upcoming weeks. So, yeah, seems like a bit of a no-brainer, that one. Chiefs. Me, please, over to you for a couple of juicy picks.
A very solid opening selection. I will take heed of this, and even though it's a divisional matchup, which always produces a little bit of consternation, I will, of course, take the Buccaneers to be beating the Saints handsomely. I will follow that selection up with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, you're a swine. You took both. You took both of the games I was looking at. You swine. Obviously, that's how that system works. Okay, so there's still plenty of meat left on the bone, and because of that, I will take that as a possibility. Okay, let me get some other ones off first. I would say the Buffalo Bills to be the Carolina Panthers. One of those, yes, Panthers do seem to be on form, but from where the Bills started to where the Bills are now, I would say they have lost a little bit of stock. And I feel a game like this has the potential and has the opportunity to give them that extra win in the win column. It makes the score across the board look a bit better. 5-2 certainly looks a lot better than 4-3. No brainer there. But they need it to still be in contender kind of. I keep looking at the same game. That might end up being my last pick. I can't see you taking it. I think, although there are some really obvious ones, I think I'm going to take a little gamble. Might be a gamble, might not. Obviously, previous Super Bowl winner in the Philadelphia Eagles beat the New York Giants. New York Giants football was very good. Not so much anymore. 2-5, 5-2. Kind of simple maths there, really.
That leaves me with a clean run at the remaining games to try and get my last two. So, I will open up with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns.
Makes a lot of sense.
And I will finish off, I think I'm going to do it, with the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Miami Dolphins. There was one other game on there that I did have a look at.
Has to be the Bengals.
It wasn't. It wasn't the Bengals that I was going to take as my other one.
Really?
You have those remaining games left to select your final pick.
I keep coming back to this game, and the reason that I haven't gone in sooner is because I think it has the potential to actually burn me. Everything on paper says obvious choice. Everything says take the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Houston Texans. Done and done. You're looking 5-2 versus 2-4. For percentage-wise, 84% of people have picked the San Francisco 49ers versus 16% have picked the Houston Texans. And I am going to take it, but I want to caveat it with when we're talking next week and you're like, oh, you got the first one, the second one, the third one. However, the fourth one let you down. I imagine it could very well be this game here because the 49ers, they are battered, bruised, and beaten to all hell. I have not one, but two 49ers players and have not been able to use them for weeks at this point in time. Can't put them in because they're either listed as questionable or out. So, yeah, I think that could be the game that burns me.
I'm not going to lie. That isn't where I thought you were going to go.
The Bengals Jets game was a more obvious choice. You've got the Jets on 0-7. The problem I've got with that game is the Bengals, not the Jets. I wouldn't be betting my house on the Bengals at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Again, even that wasn't the one I was looking at. The one I was looking at, strange enough, was the Bears-Ravens game. I'm surprised one of them hasn't taken the Ravens. I can only presume it's because they're 1-5.
It's purely a numbers. It's purely a numbers thing. 4-2 versus 1-5. I just couldn't buy that bullet. Bearing in mind, I also have Ravens players, and talk about not the season to have those players. Fucking Norma. When you've got Derrick Henry in your lineup and you're like, did he play this week? Is he out? Oh no, he did play. That's interesting. So you will have the games to recap there.
So to clarify, Mr. Cook has the Kansas City Chiefs at home to the Washington Commanders, the Buffalo Bills at the Carolina Panthers, the Philadelphia Eagles at home to the New York Giants, and the San Francisco 49ers at the Houston Texans. That is 2 home teams, 2 road teams. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints, the Indianapolis Colts at home to the Tennessee Titans, the New England Patriots at home to the Cleveland Browns, and the Atlanta Falcons at home to the Miami Dolphins. 1 road team, 3 home teams. Just time for me to tell you about our bankers and outsiders bet for the week.
Do it. I'm telling you, this is the week. Andy, this is the week we win.
Andy had the honour, as it were, of picking first this week. So for his banker, he has taken the 1 to 5 Buffalo Bills to beat the Carolina Panthers. My banker, I have picked the 8 to 11 San Francisco 49ers to beat the Houston Texans. Andy's outsider, the 11 to 4, 0-7 New York Jets to beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
And my outsider is the 5 to 4 Dallas Cowboys to beat the Denver Broncos.
So this is it. This is the week. This is the week we retire from our life of crime and move to Las Vegas.
Indeed. Should those results all come in, our pound will net as a cool £16.49 in winnings.
Nice. Normally that would be where we would sign off. However, let's just look ahead to see where the New York Jets might get a win. Just for a little bit of fun and with our last few minutes. As we are aware, the Bengals take on the Jets this week. So probably not next week. Possible, because they face the Browns. Browns aren't doing too well this season. Then we go over to take on the Patriots. Don't think that's going to be a win in the Jets column. So we potentially 1, 2, 3 losses. So that could put us up to 0-10. The Ravens are next team to face. The Ravens aren't doing well. We can't mix our words on this one. They are not doing well, but they are probably enough for the Jets.
You would imagine that by that time, the Ravens have sort of got their shit together. So, yeah, I'd be taking the Ravens first.
Personally, I do not see them beating the Falcons either.
No.
However, once we get into that fateful month of the year, we start to see what could be considered some early seasonal gifts for the Jets. They face the Dolphins first week of December. They face the Jags, which I think the Jags probably got that one. But just before the big day, they face the Saints. And that right there has got Jets win written all over it. They are back to taking on the Patriots just after the big day and start in January with what will surely be the most severe pounding any team has ever taken in the history of the NFL because they face the Bills. What I'm saying is, we have both agreed the Jets will probably get a win. It's probably going to be in December, but they might get a win. They could also do the unthinkable and hit the first ever. It's not. What is the opposite of undefeated? Unwon season. They could be in a position where they do.
Yeah, I don't think we ever worked it out, did we? What the opposite of undefeated is? Unwinnable?
Defeated. Completely defeated.
Resoundingly defeated.
Resoundingly defeated. So, that is week 7 gone. We don't even talk about week 7 anymore. Week 7, don't want to say it's dead to us, but it's definitely in the history books. And by history books, I mean the book that my co-host, Mr. Paul Williams, runs. He runs the books, he runs the numbers. Week 8 is forward. It's in the future. We don't know what it holds, but we have done our absolute best to predict it. What I would say to you, lovely people, is if you want to get in on the action, drop us a line. Say, you guys are mental. Jets win. Jets win. Jets win. Do it. We'll send you a prize. Beat us. Best us. Get the same as us. We will send you a NFL football prize that you will happily display in your home. Guarantee it. All that's left is for me to thank Mr. Williams for joining me, taking you lovely people through a sport that we do not traditionally have in this country, yet we still have it in this country and love it in this country. And maybe check out some of our other podcasts. We do a wrestling podcast about every 4 to 6 weeks. Formula One season is drawing to a close, but it doesn't stop the podcast rolling on. That's there pretty much every week now till the end of the season. Football, the round of the footballs, that's there. I'm there once a week just talking utter garbage. Just honestly, I heard myself the other day and was like, wow, it's terrible. So check that out, obviously. And there's a few others lurking around in the archives. Check those out. That is it from us. Join us next week where we will be reviewing week 8 and previewing week 9. But until then, it's bye from me. But bye from him. Catch you next time.
So there we go. What do you think of that? All that football gone, but many, many, many more games to look forward to. If you think you know what's going to happen this week in all of those games, drop us a line. You can do so by jumping over to the website, clicking the email button, and it'll do the rest for you. All you have to do is do some typing and let us know what you think. We'll send you a prize. Free! Nothing in life is free these days. Tell you what else is free. Clicking the like button. Click the subscribe button. Share the podcast around. Leave a review. Leave a comment. All of those things are free. The only thing it costs is time, and your time is valuable to us, and we would very much appreciate it. Come back next week where we'll be reviewing week 8, previewing week 9, more side bets, more side action, the works. But until then, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
This has been another episode of CookieCast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.